Hello and welcome. Welcome to the pet room. David Bradley here. If you saw my last video, you know that I had found, it's up here now, it's an MSD SD-2, and it worked, which is a miracle. Anyway, I did go into the pool room and found this other one, which has the case, which has a fuse, and all such things. And it's funny, it doesn't tell which way the power switch is. It's supposed to be, but I still can't tell. So I'll leave it as it was. I'll plug it in. Do I see anything happening? No. I'll turn this on. Okay, that did not sound particularly good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's flashing 7 times. Well, as it happens, I did have open here information about this drive. Let's see here. Let's see what we have. Oh, 7 flashes is drive mechanism. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the leaking capacitor is the most common problem. You will notice when you turn on the drive that it may blink 7 times. This is an indication that there is a problem with your drive mechanism. Here is a list of errors noted by the LED on the MSD panel when applying power to the drive. Number of flashes, 1. Microprocessor, U7. And then all the rest, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are... Oh, sorry. No. 2 is RAM. 3 is RKM-U2. 4 is RAM U3. 5 is ROM U5. And 6 is ROM U6. And 7 is drive mechanism. So this one undoubtedly has failed. Did I turn it off? I did. I did. Well, sounds like another operation. Etc. But I'm not going to dig into them now. But it is nice to have this one and this one, because right now, if I was so inclined, I could do some swapping. And I could have, well, I've got the case here. This one actually has a fuse. The other one doesn't have a fuse. It has a thing bypassing fuse. And I could, I could take the drives out of here. Or I could take the board out of here, pop it in here, and make sure that there's no other problems, because these drives are okay. There's all kinds of possibilities in troubleshooting. And you know, somewhere I might have another one of these. But where? That is always the question. Where? So there's not much more. I'm going to actually unplug this at the moment. There's not much more I can do with this. But I will refer. I wonder if when I see this thing here has pictures. I wonder if I click on them if they get a whole lot bigger. And they, well, if I stretch them out, they do, but they're not great. But here, oh, that light is not helping. Maybe I can do this. Here is a picture of the offending capacitors. And they are on. Oh yeah, this picture is 150 by 112 pixels, which back in the day was probably quite good. So here, okay, there are pictures. The ICs near the computer. Open the drive, carefully remove the drive board. The drive board from the drive mechanisms. Okay, so that I would assume is the board above the drive. There are 3 screws holding the board down, and four circuit plugins. Be careful not to yank the plugins. Once the board is removed, you will see that there are 5 capacitors, 2 on the right, 1 on top, 2 on the left. Capacitors you need are 16 volt 10 microfarad, 16 volt 47 microfarad. Be careful not to order caps that are too tall, as they will rub against the adjacent drive when installed. You can order supplies from www.jameco.com. The pictures on the left show the sequence of repair. The leaky capacitors, the third to fourth picture on the left show the eaten traces repaired, the IC removed, and capacitors replaced. Carefully desolder the capacitors and IC that need to be replaced. Use soldering braid on the back of the circuit board and a hot soldering iron to remove the solder. Note: mark down the polarity of the capacitors before removing, so when replaced they are in the correct position. If any plated holes covered by corrosion should be poked through with a tiny wire. Rock the now loose capacitors back and forth until the capacitors are removed. Once they've been removed, use a toothbrush with alcohol to clean the surrounding areas. Once thoroughly brushed down, use a small flathead screwdriver or razor to scrape the area down to the copper traces. Be careful not to remove the trace itself. If for any reason the trace has been removed, you can solder or quick grid repair compound to mend the trace. Never heard of that. As you can see on my board on the right, I scraped a good deal of corrosion down to the copper on the board. It's important to know that where everything is before scraping, so that when you are replacing the capacitors and the ICs, that they are replaced to the proper position. Replace the capacitors and the IC, and resolder them to their correct position using a hot soldering iron and rosin core solder. Carefully reinstall the board back on the drive mechanism until, upon repair, note: ensure all cables are reattached before turning on the drive. Very good. All right, well, as I say, I'm not going to dig into this now because I've got to get to work on the family portrait. But then, well, and chances are this, even though this drive isn't working, this is the one that will be somewhere, and you may not even notice it, but it'll be somewhere in the picture. This one I will tuck it carefully away because it doesn't have a cover on it, and see what's what. Anyway, chances are, of course, both of these drives are going to get the treatment. Who knows? Maybe even the upgrade ROMs that they speak of. This thing online is 12 years old. There may be more wisdom out there that I can take advantage of and make use of and thank people for. There might be. Anyway, at the moment, I'm still kind of stymied by this disk drive. And this one doesn't have hinge. Anyway, there's a bunch of sort of tidying up and housekeeping things to do. And I really would like to get a bunch more of these screws. Because when I stack these, I mean, they do okay without the screws in. But I'd rather have them in, like this one here looks like it's really resting on the tops of the drives. And I might be making a fairly significant stack of these for the picture, and I don't want to hurt anything. And I certainly don't want things to fall. And I know there's another one in here with hinge issues. I know there is. Oh, another thing I did, excuse me, yesterday, I had reason to go to a place called, it escapes me now, Princess Auto, which is a store in and around Toronto, Canada. I don't know where else it is. There's a bunch of them. Because my microwave suddenly was dead, I was kind of stunned and irked because it had been perfect. Just dead, 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 dead. And yes, it's funny. I went online to find a video to help me with this, and all it basically said is, you know what you should do to fix your microwave? You should unplug it and unplug it into another plug. And if you're not sure, then get a lamp and plug it into the plug that you're using to see if you have power. And assuming you have it in a plug with power, it should work. It's a beautiful thought, but it doesn't. Anyway, so I did find another video online, and it talks about having to take off and the video is maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 minutes long, and it seemed like the massive majority of the time he was talking about the Torx security bits that you need to get. And of course, probably somewhere I have some, but do I know? No. So I looked online. Princess Auto had them in their, what they call it, surplus. So it's anyway. So 5 or 6 or whatever of these bits. Hang on, I'll get them. I should have had these closer. Ta-da! Security bits. And what is the difference? Well, with a Torx thing, I mostly knew them as things you put on headlights with. You just take them and there's kind of a 6-sided thing and kind of a star-shaped thing, and away you go, and everything is fine. These ones, I don't know if you can see it, the security bits have a little prong up into the middle. And of course, the only way that you can get one off is with a security bit that then has a corresponding hole, which these do. Anyway, I guess they don't want, and rightfully so, they just don't want people reefing into microwaves because there could be potential danger there. Anyway, after watching the thing, it seems the one he was talking about anyway has a 20 amp fuse, although it doesn't. They say it's not a car fuse, but you know what? If you ever looked in a Commodore 64, the fuse is on a fuse holder. These two little prongy, springy things that stick up, and you pop it out and you pop it in. And I was afraid it was going to be some exotic, crazy, like circuit breaker thing, and soldering and cutting of wires and digging into stuff. And I don't know where the high voltage and other stuff is in there. So but anyway, but it is both these a 20 amp fuse, just like the kind or the sort that's in the 64. Not the same fuse as the 64, but the same mounting, the same everything. So once I get this thing open and I find this fuse and I get a replacement, I would bet it works again. And why did it blow? I don't know. Now, maybe I get it and I put it in and it blows again. And then I'll know, okay, something is seriously wrong here. But I'm not thinking that. In the past little while, there have been not tons, but there have been some significant um, storms run through here. And probably 3 or 4 times in the last couple of weeks, we've had those power things where it isn't like there's a power failure, which is better. It's one of those things where it's like the power goes off and on, off and on. And that's not good for anything. So, who knows? Maybe the fuse got irked. Anyway, I have no idea because I had used it earlier in the day. It was fine. It was dandy. And then I just went and was like, oh, the display's off. Maybe the plug has come out. Did I blow a fuse? Did I do it? Anyway, there's power on the plug. Everything is fine. So, perhaps today, I will take, and I'm told it's the T15, which is the second smallest. I should be able to take the screws out, have a look, and perhaps chase down the correct fuse. Of course, if I did like what they did on this MSD to SD-2, I just bypass the fuse. But I don't think that's wise. I don't. Although I suppose if I was really daring, I could bypass it and plug it in quickly. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't plug it in quickly. I would plug in a power bar. I would plug the thing into it. I would get everything in position to jump the fuse, and then give it a quick turn on, see if it fires up. And then say, okay, yes, the fuse will help. But I don't think so. Anyway, the other thing I got was made by Blaster. Some white lithium grease. High performance, they say. Now, this is automotive stuff. And of course, they show that it's going on a hitch of a car or a truck or a something. But this is not what I have in mind. I will spray a little bit into some sort of cup, and I will take Q-tips and I will apply it to the rails, which are here. Here's a rail. There's a rail of these disk drives. And then I will, and I've got others, I'll try it, because I'm thinking there is a lot of dust on here, and these things got to go back and forth. And maybe the reason that these things are not staying within the pancake guide here, as they don't, is because there's just a little too much friction and they just can't. But with the other drives, I'll give them a little, it doesn't take much, just a little bit. And typically on the top, because that's where the most of the friction is. And of course, then it kind of works itself in. So I did get that as well. And actually, you know, I suppose I could if I wanted to. I haven't taken this off. I could spray some in the cap, but that would then make the cap all yucky. Anyway, mostly this is used for automotive things. And yeah, keep away from children. Contains petroleum distillates. If swallowed, call the Poison Control Center. La, 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 la. I will be careful. Comes from Cleveland, Ohio. And it has a pretty can. Anyway, I would have got something smaller, but that's all they had. And you know what? I know I have some around. But where is it? Anyway, I'm hopeful that these drive things here that have issues will come around and then be usable and workable again once the friction has been reduced. I'm hopeful. Anyway, enough for now. Here, let's say, is the MSD SD-2. This one has issues. This one is working. But I bet you, when I look in there, there's going to be evidence of capacitor troubles. I bet you. So, I will get to them. But not today. Right now, I hunger. And, yeah, I would like to basically go through these drives, get some screws for the cases, and the ones that have hinges, use steel screws and things off of the other. I have 3 that are now taken apart, and get them better, because that certainly will help, or will not help, in keeping a stack of them alive if the top is loose in the front and loose in the back. And like this one here, thankfully it worked. But, you know, if I went to go flip it back, it'd be a disaster. A disaster. Anyway, with this one, well, I'm thinking maybe one of those things where I have to do a swap of the motherboard. And that I do have other boards right here. I do. Now it is missing. This one is missing the 6502 and the two 6532 chips. Because of course I've been using them. And of course, if I'm wanting to test this board in here, I'll make sure I shouldn't use those same chips from that board, because they could be the problem. They could be. Anyway, this drive kind of baffles me. It's one I got from the scoundrels, and I'm not sure I should have bothered with that. Anyway, we'll see. And then the last thing, because I want the 2031 to be in the picture, 2031 high profile drive, which basically is one of these cut in half, but it's not angled. It looks almost like a 9090. And it is the one that is on the picture of the December 1984 T-Pug magazine, in the picture of where my brother and I ran the bulletin board. And it has some sort of issue, and I think it's at 0 page. And now that I've been tinkering on these more, I'm getting a better idea of what that actually might mean. And I would really like to have it up and working again. But we'll see about that. I can't get bogged down on it. I gotta keep moving forward. So, I'm losing my hat. I'll put this board back up here carefully where it can't get into any trouble or fall. Here, and I'm not sure I'm fond of these. I don't know if you remember, but I had one of these, and these are modern IEEE cables, and one of the little things in here got squirrely, and I was trying to sort of push it back into place and get it sorted, and it broke. So I have that in a bag somewhere. Anyway, I guess they're okay. They don't. It's funny because this is supposed to fit right on here, and it's fighting me. I think it didn't want to go. So I'm not sure that these are great, but they are modern, and supposedly they're not too expensive. Which, oh, there, that fit. Anyway, as you see, I haven't included this in the whole pile of drive things going on yet. Oh man, I guess it's not a bad thing that they fit securely, because if they slip out, they don't make a good connection, bad things happen. All right, so Torx security bits. Now, will I remember where these are the next time I need them? I hope. I'm going to put them in my computer vintage old Sears thing, and where I got lots of other bits and things, and hopefully I'll remember, oh yeah, they're in there. We shall see. All right, it is time to dine. But of course, funny how you don't realize how much you use the microwave until the microwave is dead. If I would love to go into the kitchen and heat something up in the microwave. Maybe later. Maybe. Perhaps, as I do this operation, I have to figure out, this is a big microwave. I have to figure out where I can open it up. And I really don't want to move all these things at the moment. And maybe I will video that, because I'm hoping what it ends up being is a very successful operation of pull out the screws, pull off the cover, find the fuse, replace the fuse, and we're all just tickety-boo. I hope. If it's more than that, I'm afraid, as they say in the old original Star Trek series, he's dead, Jim. Or, wait for it, Jim, he's dead. Anyway, I'm hopeful it's just a fuse. And I'm sure that there are an awful lot in these days of where things are disposable. I'm sure there's a lot of things that go to the scrapyard because of a fuse. And I refuse to do that. Yet, I must investigate. Anyway, thanks for being here. It's summer, and I hope you're having a good one. Stay cool, stay warm. Bye for now.